Hi, I'm Don Shaw, Chair of BritCon. As one of our last programs for tonight, we're happy to present to you our cosplay contest. There are some amazing costumes, so keep an eye because it's going to be fun to watch. Afterwards, we have a special presentation of a very special video. But first, let me introduce our Master of Ceremonies for the cosplay contest, Olivia Nelson.
Hi, and thanks, Don. Thank you guys all for joining us at this wonderful cosplay contest tonight. We're calling it a masquerade because we have a lot of fun. We're doing more than just our contest. So I'd like to start the night with some of our hall costumes. Now, these are not people that wanted to compete, but they did have some fun getting dressed up and they wanted to show off. So let's sit back and give them some really well-deserved some attention. First up, we have Rory as a medieval witch. Someone right out my alley. Next, we have Rory as the TARDIS. Now, she made that jacket, that hat, and those earrings. And special little note about those earrings, they were designed to look, to be based off of the little hangy things. Yep, those right there. Isn't that freaking cool? Check them out. Love that outfit. I'm biased though. I love the TARDIS. Can take you anywhere. We also have Rory again, but this time Lady Vader with her little pup. Little side note, technically the pup is Rory. And next up, we have our own Dawn and her husband Ian as Jedi. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the contest portion. Now, we've got two contestants and both of these costumes, oh my goodness. Both are very Whovian, and both of these contestants put so much work into these costumes. They are awesome. I am so excited to get to show you guys. First up, we have Evergreen Rain as a Dalek. Now, with this, this one here in this picture, I believe she made that headset, but the headset in the video, she actually had commissioned, but that dress, she made that dress. It's gold, like silk satin. I want you guys in the video to try and keep your eyes open. She's actually got some holsters in the sides for her whisk and plunger. And really, really cool tip, her little Dalek balls, those she cut stress balls in half. That way she could sit on them and they wouldn't squish and they'd still keep their form. Really, really just brilliant what she did there. Check it out. Don't exterminate me. I am really, really happy to announce that Evergreen is taking home our second place. So Evergreen, I am going to be contacting you about your prize, so watch your email. Next up, we have Toma as the Sixth Doctor. Now, Toma, there's just so much to say about this costume. Oh my goodness. so many tidbits that you can't even really see. If you ever get a chance to see Toma in person and in this costume, you've got to ask about the details. This costume, those pants, the little stripes on the wrists there, she hand painted those stripes. She dyed and hand painted the dots on the scarf in the center. The cat pin, she sculpted that out of Sculpey after she had found the right one that she wanted to go with. And something you can't see, she made that the shirt under there, and it has little tiny cat buttons all up and down, and she made those from scratch. And oh my goodness, if you ever get a chance, you've got to check them out. So I'm going to shut up now and let you guys see her amazing work in action. Toma, oh my goodness, all that amazing work. You took home our first place. I will be contacting you about your prize, so watch your email. You guys all did such an amazing job. Oh my goodness. We might not have had a quantity, but oh my goodness, the quality. Thank you guys so much, all of our participants, for everything that you guys put into these amazing costumes and for sharing them with us. And thank you everyone for joining us here at BritCon. I hope to see you next year in person, and I hope to see those hall costumes. Good night.
Hi, once again, I'm Don Shaw, Chair of BritCon. As our last video of the event, BritCon is proud to premiere the Brigadier's Day Out, featuring Doctor Who legend Nicholas Courtney. This special video was provided by our friends at Sci Fi Cruise. It was shot in 2001 during their 7th voyage. It was intended for use by the 2 public broadcasting stations airing Doctor Who at the time as part of their pledge drive efforts. But unfortunately, neither of them needed it, so it was never aired. Thanks to Sci Fi Cruises, we are able to bring it to you now. The next Sci Fi Cruise sails April 19th through 29th, 2022, and hits 5 Caribbean ports. Check out the details at sci-ficruise.com. And now, enjoy the Brigadier's Day Out.
Hello there, I'm Richard Franklin. You probably remember me as Captain Mike Yates in the John Pertwee era. I'm at the annual Chicago Doctor Who Con, and great time we're having here. And thanks to the fantastic digital technology, I would now like to wish bon voyage and a great voyage, I hope it's going to be, to Nicholas Courtney, my brig, and all those fans who are on their way to Mexico.
Yes, thank you, Richard. We're having a wonderful time here in Mexico.
Ah, good. You heard the voice.
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm told I had to project louder to gather you all up.
Wow. So here we are with Professor Bernie Summerfield in the ancient ruins of the planet Maya.
Maya.
Goddess. Oh, goddess.
I was talking to Captain Yates.
Well, hi there, Nick. I hope you're having a wonderful time on your cruise to Mexico. I hate you. I hate you. What a wonderful time I hope you're having, and the fans too, who are cruising with you.
We are investigating the remnants of the Mayan civilization in a place called Tulum. We've discovered some extraordinary things.
I don't even really want to know where you're going because they're all wonderfully glamorous, super places, all the places I would love to go to.
Just now, my wife and I looked up and we saw this, what looked like a pterodactyl. It's probably a pelican, my wife says, and she probably knows better. But it looked like a very miniature pterodactyl. So you got the feeling of living in a time past. And it also has a lot of peace about it, this place.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, you and I were together in the unit office, and fighting all those blobby axons and autons and all sorts of extraordinary creatures. And here you are, basking in the sunshine, going to all the most wonderful parts of the world with the fans. Have a great time. Don't be seasick.
I'm Charles Martin, and I'm here with Nicholas Courtney, who played the Brigadier on Doctor Who. We're delighted to have you with us.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Now, right now we're on a ship traveling away from Mexico back to the United States, where we just had a wonderful vacation, and we're with some Doctor Who fans.
Yes.
How do you enjoy meeting the fans?
Yes, very much. I think they're a very nice group of people here. I'm really relaxing. In fact, I was saying to Keith just now, would it be nice now, we've had a couple of days to get to know each other. Now, can we start another week on this cruise? Then we're all relaxed, all totally, and know each other. But alas, we can't have another week on the cruise because we can't.
Well, now, you've done several of these as well as conventions.
Only one cruise before.
Oh, I see. What do you like? What do you like about the convention or the cruise experience?
Well, the cruise particularly because I love cruising. Not that I've been on. I think I've only been on a cruise twice. This is my only second time. I love being on the water. I love boats. I'm very happy. That's why I enjoyed our ferry trip yesterday when we got the spray thrown over us. No problem at all. I always like being on boats. So that is one element. Also, it's lovely weather. I love the sun and the sea, and a taste of good living, which doesn't happen that often in one's life, being on a luxury liner. So that's nice. And also, it's good that we're also talking about doing a bit of work with the writers, because otherwise you get so lazy, you wouldn't do anything. And I like to exercise my brain most of my life, if possible, and enjoy myself.
Now, you mentioned that we're doing a writer's workshop as part of this cruise. Has this put any thoughts in your mind about doing any more writing? You did your autobiography.
Yes, it has. In fact, giving the clues to my team, I've, in point of fact, given them a thought, an element which I'm better not talk about now. It's supposed to be secret.
No.
About a scenario I wrote last year when I was having a holiday in the Canary Islands, which are very nice. Very nice they are too. And I wrote a scenario a couple of nights for a Brigadier story, which I hope I may get round to writing. It took me long enough to write the book.
You heard it here first.
It took me long enough to write the book, and so I hope I get this done. But I've got a scenario whereby the Brigadier is on his own because the Doctor is on another planet fighting the Master, who wants to introduce global warming at the rate of knots. And so the Doctor's away, so the Brigadier has to handle the situation in Geneva. I better not say more.
No, classified.
Classified information.
Tell me about some of your favorite actors, both on stage and on television.
Well, I started on stage because stage always came before before television with myself. There was a wonderful actress by the name of Celia Johnson. I did a play called The Dame of Sark, which I played another one, the officer. Actually, it was a colonel. It was a wartime World War II story, and it was called The Dame of Sark. And Celia Johnson, who played the lead in this World War II story about the occupation of Sark. So Celia Johnson, then Alan Eagle took over from her, and then I played the leading. When I started, I did, in this business, I did weekly repertory. That was very hard work. You learned a new play every week, and you had a great company spirit, because the company were together 52 weeks of the year. You worked very hard, therefore you lived very much in each other's pockets, and you got to know a lot of people. But I mean, there are so many actors I've worked with who are a pleasure to work with. I was thinking, when I was at the West End back in 1975, we did a play called The Dame of Sark, which is a World War II story about the occupation of Sark and the Channel Islands by the Germans. And I played Colonel Allen, I think his name was. Was it Colonel somebody else? They changed the name because it didn't come easily. It came on right in the play, and that was an English Army colonel. Later, when Celia Johnson left, Dame Alan Eagle took over, and I played the part of Tony Britton played, which was the leading part, a German army officer this time. Not a Nazi, an anti-Nazi, but that was, again, a very good part. I seem to be in uniform a great deal. As regards other people who, there's so many people who've been, I think it's important for me to tell you who my idol as an actor has always been all my career, and that is an actor by the name of Paul Scofield. Now, I don't know how well known he is in America. I'm fairly well known. He's, to me, the acme of he's such a star. I mean, he's just magic. Alan Liddell is another actor who was fine to work with, and I did a play called The Rehearsal in the West End with the Viscount Robert Hardy. I mean, very select band of English actors. And Alan Liddell, again, had total magic. He did a television adaptation of The Count of Monte Cristo, which was superb, absolutely superb. With that story, you must know about The Count of Monte Cristo. And Alan Liddell, he had everything exactly right. He knew what was right. And he didn't always endear himself to the people he was working with, he was sort of the director, because he would disagree with them. But the thing was, Alan Liddell was always right. He wasn't being different. He just knew what was right. So that's another actor. But I could go on forever about the actors who I admire.
And who were some of your favorite performers who really made an impression on you when you were working on Doctor Who?
Well, I mean, all the doctors were enjoyable to work with. I mean, I think my first two, Patrick Troughton and John Pertwee, I knew the best, and that was tremendous. Fellow feeling was lovely. Of course, we've had some wonderful visiting artists. In fact, you know, apart from the regulars. In fact, there are many actors in England I know who haven't been or worked in Doctor Who in this 30-year or more run, whatever, 60 or whatever, how many years they were making it. Said, why can't I be a doctor? Why can't I be a... Everyone wanted to have, be a villain or be a hero or be whatever. Of all the visiting actors that we've had, I think, I'm trying to remember who impressed me now. Well, of course, I'm thinking of Roger Delgado, who entered just after the story Inferno, the next story. He was a wonderful master, and very, very nice man, very civilized man. So I've worked with him before on a series called Randall and Hopkirk Deceased, which over here is called My Friend the Ghost, I think, something like that. Because they're doing another series of that now.
And Tom Baker's in it, of all people.
And Tom Baker, again, is in it, of all people. That's right. I was with Tom about 2 weeks ago. We had a very merry lunch together. Told you about it. We had very merry lunch. And Tom he's great company, Tom. You haven't heard of a show called...
What show?
Oh, well, Galaxy's Angel.
Oh, he was Brian Quigley.
Quigley.
Of course.
He was
Of course, because they wrote his character
That
out.
was very sad.
Absolutely heartbroken. He was
Very sad.
fabulous.
And the funeral in Ireland here was amazing. The Irish T-shirt with the president came in. It was a huge do.
We were absolutely...
And I went to his memorial service, which was lovely. And his daughter, Susanna Doyle, who's a very good actress, she was asked, actually, she was very uncertain whether she'd do it after he died to create another character. One of the ladies was leaving, and she wasn't sure, but she did. And you probably haven't seen her series yet.
Maybe.
Susanna Doyle, her name is Susanna Doyle.
No, but I mean,
I don't know the character. I don't know.
You've come over to America a number of times to go to conventions and meet with fans. When you, as it keeps going on, does it become more amazing over time that people still have such an interest in Doctor Who?
It does, Charles, it does. In the 80s, when it was huge in America, I remember in 85, I came across 12 times to America.
Wow.
There was one every weekend, practically. I remember that very well. Then, of course, it not died in America, but it's sort of, they got on to other things. But in England, it's carried on, and they haven't made a Doctor Who television since 1989. Here we are in 2001. Conventions are going, Big Finish started up, audios are going.
Now, you mentioned the Big Finish audios. Now, you've done some of these. They're audio CDs, for people who don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They're audio CDs that carry on the adventures of Doctor Who.
That's right.
And you played the Brigadier in them.
Yes, indeed.
How's that been?
That's been very good. I particularly enjoyed The Spectre of Lanyon Moore. That was very well written, very well directed by Nicholas Pegg. And that was good to have a story with Colin Baker, because previous to that, I'd only done a little thing in Dimensions in Time, which was an experiment they had about, it was a German idea about 3D or something. I personally don't think it worked terribly well, but nevertheless, it was an experiment. But I met Colin Baker in that little clip. I shook hands as I was coming in, and I was saying goodbye to John Pertwee, you know, that was John. So I just met Colin Baker, but now I met him on audio. That's great.
Do you enjoy doing? Is it difficult to recreate the character of the Brigadier on audio? Do you enjoy doing it that way? You don't have to get dressed up.
Exactly, it's much better because, as Baronet said when we were doing the Pertwee audio things for the BBC, Paradise of Death, Ghosts of End Space, Barry said to me, Baronet said something like he reckoned that probably my voice hadn't changed that much from 20, 30 years ago. Obviously, my body has changed because Anno Domini, and I get larger around the middle and I get a little rare. But the voice hasn't changed. So. But I like the audio work because I've done a lot of radio work in my life. It's great.
You've also done, well, there's a lot of things I'd like to talk to you about, but one of the things I do want to mention is that the way that we can continue to enjoy Doctor Who is by supporting public television.
Yes.
And it's very important that you go right now, pick up your phone, call the number on your screen. To do so will be supporting not just Doctor Who, but the Brigadier.
On public television, the whole ethos of public service television is so important. I'm a little concerned, to digress for a moment, back in England, that the BBC's become rather too ratings bound and everything. And you've had that in America for a long time, and there's so many good programs on public service television. The Doctor Who and quality stuff, and Doctor Who's quality too, because as long as the writing is good and so many of the Doctor Who stories were so well written, it's good to have that rather than chasing the ratings all the time. And I think it's a very, very fine, that's the word I'm looking for, a very fine principle to have the principle of PBS.
Now, I'd like to find out more about what you're doing these days. Now, I understand you were recently on stage in Germany.
Yes, that was very good, because it was a piece called An Ideal Husband by Oscar Wilde. And the part I went up for and got pretty quickly, I knew I had, was Lord Couch, and there was Lord Goring's father. And it's a part that could have been not written for me. Beautiful stuff to say. By the way, we did it in English, we didn't do it in German, because the Germans speak extremely good English, all of them. They got the comedy, they got the Oscar Wilde nuances, and they were a joy to play to. We had full houses for 10 weeks, and it was extremely good company, very talented company, young people next to them. We all got on very well, and it was such a pleasure to be doing that. It's very good for an actor if you can possibly do one play a year, not a huge part necessarily, depending on how young you are, if you want to get back on the stage, because that's where the roots start. I mean, that's how it started here, right on the stage, and to get the audience reaction, which is very enjoyable.
Well, you've been very good in stage, and you've been very good in television. And if you'd like to see Nicholas Courtney being very good in television, and you'd like to support Doctor Who, the way to do that is to pick up your phone and call the number on your screen. Support public television. There's more to it than just Doctor Who, and it's really important that you support it, isn't it?
Yes, I quite agree with that. I think the whole ethos of public service television is so good. And if I may say so, I think it's very good for America, particularly because you've got so many stations, channels, outlets. Particularly because at the moment in England, the BBC always used to have that tremendous reputation of public service television. And that was their charter, and it's very, very important. But alas, what's happening in England at the moment, BBC is chasing the ratings too much, which they shouldn't do. They should stay, because we've got a license fee system, and everyone says you've got to get the money. But I think public service television, well, you've got my point now, viewers and listeners. The Brigadier believes in public service television. I think it's very important that you support it with all your heart and your pledge, if you will.
Pick up the phone right now. Go. We've talked a little about all the people that you know who are actors in England. Have you seen the new Harry Potter movie?
No, I haven't, and I'm looking forward to seeing it very much because I started reading the book when I was on holiday earlier this year, and because my wife said you should read this, and I'd heard so much about it, and I read it, and it was perfect holiday reading. I thought it was delightfully written, old-fashioned, which suits me, very evocative of my own school days in a way, and I find it quite delightful and good reading. But I haven't finished it yet, because I take a long time to read books. I don't know why, but I do. Maybe because I'm busy or other things to do. And so I'm going to finish reading it, probably, I hope, by the time I get back to London in a couple of days' time. And then I should go and see the movie.
Getting back to your writing, what was it that inspired you?
Well, I've been writing for a very long time. As long ago as, would you believe, my school in Egypt, which is a very long time ago, like 1945 or something, when I won the magazine prize and I wrote a story. And that's the first time I was in charge of the library at the time. And I won the library prize. I won because of the story I wrote. Now then we, rushing on through the years, I think when my daughter was being born, I started writing thoughts about everything. Not writing anything definite, not for publication, but I've been writing all my life, experiences, thoughts, philosophy, history, what's going on in current affairs. And I must have got this gift, I think, either from my grandfather, who was the founder of the Oxford University Dramatic Society. He was an author, he was a drama critic, he translated plays, he was an actor, he was a philosopher, and as I say, Don at New College, Oxford. And he, of course, wrote copious books. He was a man before his time. He wrote about why women should be allowed to have top jobs, and he was writing this in 1924 or 25, so a man before his time. Subsequently, my father, who maybe I got the military side from, he was in World War I, my father, and then he was a diplomat during World War II. But he got a job just before the First World War as a tutor at the court of the Tsar Nicholas, just before the Russian Revolution, and a very interesting piece he wrote. He was a tutor to the children of the lady-in-waiting to the Tsarina, and he wrote about his experiences there, very short amount, and then he submitted it to the BBC, and he said, I want my son to read it. Now, the BBC turned it down, and I'm glad they did then, because I wouldn't have known how to do it at that time in 1952. But later, I kept those memoirs, and when I was on the BBC Drama Company, I hoiked it round, from Radio 3 to Radio 4, and eventually it was done as an interval piece between concerts. And a publisher rang me up the next day and said, wanted to publish it, wanted to make a big deal of it. He said, well, where's the rest? I said, well, that's all he wrote, only 40 minutes worth. He said, oh, what a pity, because I would like to have done something with this. And he said, well, can't you do the rest yourself? I said, well, of course I can't do the rest myself. I would never do that to my father. I wasn't there anyway, how could I? So I think it's come through the genes, the writing. I've always had this, and I should continue to write. I know I will. I've got certain things bubbling up in my mind, not only about Doctor Who stories, but about lots of other subjects.
I understand that you've also written your autobiography.
Oh yes, I beg your pardon. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, my own biography, which came out 3 years ago, called 5 Rounds Rapid. Now, originally, that was a working title. I wanted to call it A Soldier in Time, which is a much better title, which actually my wife suggested to me. I think it's a better title, because 5 Rounds Rapid is one line from one episode, The Demons, and a very good episode too. But so many people say, well, what does 5 Rounds Rapid mean? So when I said to my agent, okay, this is only a working title, I want it to be called A Soldier in Time, she said, oh, well, it's too late now because they've got interest in America. I don't think I quite believed all this at the time, because it was very early on before I finished writing it. That's the name, that's what it's known by, and you've got to keep it. So I said to the publishers, okay, I was a bit annoyed about this because I think the other title was better. I said, in that case, I said to Virgin Publishing, who I won't say too much about, I said to them, all right, if I change it to 5 Rounds Rapid, then you must put at the back of the book, what do you call it, not a bibliography, or a reference to it, all the names. And they were reluctant to do that, which is very silly, because a lot of people, when they pick up a book, they may have other actors say, well, am I mentioned? Might buy the book, or might not. But because I wanted it to go outside fandom, my book, because it's all about my life. It's not only about Doctor Who. And someone suggested, when I was going to write a Doctor Who story, they said, no, Nick, what about your life? It's quite an unusual life you've had. It might be more interesting. And I think that's probably right. And I will be doing, I'm fairly hopeful, an audio version of my book sometime next year. And that'll be good, because Virgin Publishing, for some reason, print was very small. So a lot of people probably gave up reading because the print was so small. I can't imagine why they bothered to do that. However, there you are, that was Virgin Publishing. I think they lost interest in Doctor Who by the time. And my book came at a wrong time, probably.
Well, you know, John Pertwee did a volume 2.
Yes.
So there's always a good chance for you to have a volume 2. And then you can have your title.
Then I may have my title, but I think I'll choose another publisher. Because John was with at the time with Virgin, that was all right. And John's was...
Well, he just got it out of time, didn't he?
He did, and John's was hosted by David Howe, I think.
Yes.
I wrote all my book myself and edited by my good friend John Nathan Dowell.
Very important to support Doctor Who and public television, isn't it, Nick?
Otherwise, the Brigadier won't be at all pleased if you don't do what the gentleman on my left has asked you to do. I shall get very commanding if you don't. Not really, but I urge you to look into my eyes. No, that sounds like the master, doesn't it? I better not do that.
It's very important that you support Doctor Who and public television. So pick up your phone and dial the number on your screen. Thanks. Supporting public television supports Doctor Who, isn't that right, Nicholas Cole?
That's absolutely right. I was going to say I order you to watch it, but I'm loath to give you orders. I cajole you to watch it. I urge you to watch it, and you should watch it, because you'll enjoy it. Trust me, you will.
Hi, it's me again. I just want to say thank you for sticking with us and watching all this wonderful programming that we've had for you all day. If you haven't already, please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And also visit our website and sign up for our newsletter to keep posted on upcoming events. If you've been waiting around to find out who won the Who Shop Trivia Contest, we are extending that contest for 2 weeks. So definitely pay attention on our social media, and we'll keep everybody posted. Again, thank you so much for being here, for watching, and we're very much looking forward to seeing you all at our live convention in August of 2022.